All right, y'all. Our very special guest has just walked into the studio. Well, actually, she's on the phone checking in. Nicole Lynn, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Hey, for people who don't know, she is the top woman agent that everybody is coming to. She's got a new book called Agent You. Show up, do the work, succeed on your own terms. And in a game like the NFL and getting star recruits and star players, just being a sports agent in general, you don't see a lot of women like Nicole Lynn in this position. So you are a very important person for us to talk to today. Let's talk a little bit about your journey and how now it's getting so much attention to a point where now you got a book and you got shows coming on Starz.
Yeah, it's been such an incredible journey. It's really tough to get into sports, and so I'm just blessed to be able to, do what I do every day. I started off repping undrafted players and eventually had a top 3 pick and then another top 10 pick, and kind of the rest is history. So super blessed to be in this position.
No doubt. Now, Nicole, in the business of being an agent, you have to invest a lot mentally into yourself to have the confidence to be able to cut these deals. But then you also kind of have to, I don't want to say baby the clients, but you kind of almost become like a maternal figure to a lot of these people and have to deal with so many energies. How do you balance the things that you need to do for yourself and also be able to still satisfy the needs of all your clients?
Man, that's such a good question. And I talk about it in my book a bunch because it's a struggle I've had for a very long time. For my athletes, I kind of wear every hat: mentor, life coach, agent, travel assistant. And it's really easy to forget about yourself. And so self-care has been a journey that I've been on and I'm still on today. But it's definitely something that is not easy, I'll tell you.
Another thing that's not easy, Nicole, is pivoting, right? Pivoting in life. And you've made multiple pivots on your journey, from Wall Street financial analyst, attorney, then top agent. Can we talk about how you've gone through each transition and what made you pivot each time? Because I feel like Wall Street, now everybody talks about the stock, so a Wall Street financial analyst would seem like, hey, that's the job to have. So tell us a little bit about some of the pivots you've made in life to get to this point.
Yeah, and so for me, I always knew what my purpose was. In the book, I talk about finding your purpose. If you're not walking in your purpose, you're really just working and living to die. I genuinely feel that. And so the minute I would realize, hey, this is not my purpose or calling, I'd pivot. Our lives are way too short to be in a job or to be doing something that we do not love. And I tell my readers, the time to fail is now. There's no greater time to fail than now, so that you have more time to really make up in that failure. And so I took what I call the Hail Mary and kind of never looked back. So I left Wall Street, became an attorney, stopped practicing law, and now a sports agent. So very interesting route to get here.
Gotcha. Now, Nicole, you see this a lot in the business, when you have your first couple years within the sport, or any sport for that matter, the money's coming in and the money's good. But then you hang your cleats up and, sometimes people find themselves not in the best financial shape. What new things are being done to fortify these people to get them better prepared for life off the field when everything's all said and done?
That's such a good question. That's honestly why I got in the business. I saw a lot of guys go from rags to riches back to rags. And so for me, I wanted to help them retain their wealth. I think it's less about, hey, stop spending all your money, and more about a mindset change, right? Step one is about changing your mindset about money and your relationship with money. If you grew up without money, you have a different relationship with money than someone that does. And so I do a lot of financial education with my guys. I have something called rookie school. All my rookies go through, and we go through the basics, right? How to balance a checkbook, how to write a check, what does a bank statement look like? Really starting with those basics, I think, helps in the long term when players are trying to retain their wealth. And then I'm also the bad girl. I can say no to parents and family, and when people are asking for money, I'm happy to be that person. I'm happy to block that off.
I hear that. Much needed in our communities as well. And Nicole, let me ask too, it seems like deals, not only are they getting bigger, the structuring of the deals are kind of changing up. I've seen a couple players, especially in the NFL, now saying, hey, I want to be paid in Bitcoin and things of that nature. What are your thoughts on some of these new deals? Is that something that you are interested in or would advise your players to go for?
I think it's great that, our guys are getting exposed to other currencies and, other ways to make money. I think it was 2 days ago, Saquon Barkley just said he wanted to get his endorsement deals with Bitcoin. I think I saw that on Twitter. And so it's great. I think it's amazing that they're becoming more aware of kind of these other ways to grow your money. I think there's a lot of education that still needs to be done around that before any player just takes the jump. But I think we're treading in the right direction.
I also wanted to ask, too, about with the new rules in the NCAA and the fact that now players are able to get paid for their likeness and for their images. Does that allow you or put you in a position to now kind of recruit even younger or represent younger players before they even become professional? And what are your thoughts on players now? Because it seems like there's a lot of gray area, like there's things to be figured out.
Mm-hmm.
But I've already seen young players who are just graduating high school, going to college. They're already putting it out there like, hey, I can now promote, your clothing line and I can get paid for it. Tell us a little bit about where you think that space is headed and if that's something that you're interested too.
Yeah, so I'm excited about the name, image, and likeness laws that are now finally here. I think players should absolutely be able to capitalize on their own likeness. I do wish that the NCAA would have focused sooner on this issue. If they would have been the ones paying the players, that's still not happening. But like you said, it's such a gray area. There's not a lot of structure in this, and so it's a little bit dangerous at this point. As an agent, I can recruit players for marketing as early as their freshman year, and that's something that's very new. I know personally I'm kind of sitting back and watching to see how things play out because the rules are literally changing every day.
Now, for those that just joining us, man, we're talking to Power Sports agent Nicole Lynn. Now, one of the biggest stories that we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks is the story about Sha'Carri Richardson. She was getting ready to go to the Olympics, do it big, got busted for pot. Now, as an agent, a lot of time you guys also, deal with crisis management for your clients.
Yeah.
She's being offered all types of interesting deals these days. I mean, like,
Yes.
vape, marijuana brands. If you was her agent, what would you tell her to do? Do you fully embrace the dark side and, have her change your name to Smoking Sha'Carri Richardson and just run with it and get all this money?
Sha'Carri I would not advise Sha'Carri to do any of that.
Why be on the Wheaties box when you could be on the Wheaties box?
Here's the thing. I feel, my heart breaks for her that she's not able to run in the Olympics. I think the whole culture is rooting for her, right? And I'm so just proud of all that she's been able to do. I personally, if I'm her agent, it just depends on the player. It depends on what her long-term goals are. The Olympics doesn't come back for 4 years. Is she in a position where she's going to need the money? Are there other deals that we can do? Are there other deals besides weed companies? Or maybe it makes sense. So it really is specific to the player.
Nicole, before we let you go, because I hear the phone lines buzzing in the back, so I know the deals are coming through and you're busy. Thank you for your time. You just got added recently you've partnered up with Clutch Sports Group. Shout outs to Rich Paul. You're now the new president of football operations, which is huge. Congratulations on that. What do you wish to do with that role? What is your main goals and how do you see things playing out with Clutch Sports? Again, an agency that what Rich Paul is doing in terms of his vision with rewriting the rules for players and giving players more power within these systems. I'm such a fan of it. So, and I think you're a great addition. So what's your immediate goals there?
Yeah, I'm just so, first of all, excited to be a part of Clutch. Rich Paul is literally the GOAT. The way that he represents his players is the way that, I represent my players. It's a 360 kind of representation on and off the field. My goal is just to continue to build out the football division. He opened or started the football division 2 years ago. And so I want to continue to keep the culture of Clutch while building out football and really changing the game. At Clutch Sports, we do it differently. We're not going to fit the mold. We're going to 100% do what's best for our athletes and shake up the game. So I'm hoping to continue that.
Well, Nicole Lynn, thank you so much for pulling up on the Morning Hustle. The book, if anybody wants to pick it up, and I'm sure they do, where can they go to get it?
So the book is called Agent You, Show Up, Do the Work, and Succeed on Your Own Terms. It's everywhere that you can buy a book, Amazon, Target, smaller bookstores, Barnes & Noble. This book is a self-help book. It's not a memoir, although there are very raw stories about my journey to becoming a sports agent. It's more about how can you become your own agent? How can you download that inner agent in you?
Real boss talk coming from a real boss right here. One time, y'all, for Miss Nicole Lynn. Yeah. God bless you, Queen.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We are the Morning Hustle.